Good morning. Trying to use the gimbal today and get a little walk in. Was not really prepared to do a morning motivation, but just decided, you know what, we're going to just do this thing as it is. Maybe we'll get some folks come through. Maybe we won't. Maybe the gimbal will fall apart. Maybe it'll hold up. I have no idea. it's a game of chance, but definitely feels better than trying to hold it the way that I was before. Nea is already here with us. What's going on, Nea? Good to have you. Good to have you. Good morning. Raven's Talk with Yolanda is with us as well. Says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. Computer Pal is with us this morning, fam. Morning to you as well. It's a nice, early, brisk morning here in Huntsville, Alabama. Kids are still getting ready. Trying to get in at least a couple miles before the day gets away from me. But yeah, excited that we can hang out for a little bit. He says raining here in Charlotte. I was like, what was that first comment? I didn't catch that one. Raining here in Charlotte is what he said. Well, man, it isn't much better here. It's overcast. It's usually way more sunny by now, but it's actually great for walking. Agbull, what's going on, sir? Excited to see you on the live this morning. Yeah. Just taking it all in. Computer said, I guess I'll go lift weights. Hey, listen, I'm just trying to close my rings for the day. Trying to close my rings for the day. Okay. It's gonna be interesting. Let's see what else we got going on. 6 of you guys are on the live. Already got 2 likes. Can't thank you enough. Can you hear me clearly? Because I am not using an external microphone at all today. Just using the phone and trying to project a little bit. Oh, wow. We just jumped to 12 people watching, and that is so dope. Welcome, 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 everyone. And Nea says the audio is clear. And even though I am walking, the gimbal allows for it to be a lot more stable than it usually is when I'm just hand holding the thing. So this is the DJI Osmo SE. It's an older one, but it's doing the job today. Hello, bro. I'm from Iran. Hey, yeah. How are you? Thank you for coming through today. All right. So, for our morning motivation, man, 16 of you guys are on the live. This is so awesome. This is real awesome. So, super excited to be able to have some of you with us today. There's a speed sign right there, trying to keep people honest in the neighborhood. Trying to keep people honest. All right. The only challenge with going live, as I mentioned before, is, vertical live streams. It's great. It's phenomenal. But I'm going to need my moderators to have their fingers on the itchy fingers on that trigger today, okay? Because I can see some folks in the chat that aren't normally with us, and we just want to ensure that the moment they decide to go rogue, like this one right here, we go ahead and get rid of them. All right. And I will pause to do that if I have to. Hey, Bashara, what's going on? Wait, you have a gimbal? I did not know that. So definitely. Yeah. Yeah. So some of these, we want to go ahead and get rid of them. Hello from Canada. Have a great morning. Same to you, Rob the Maritimer. Thank you so much for coming through. Thank you so much for coming through. Yeah, moderators. We got one more there. We're going to go ahead and get rid of that one too. There's always a test before we can actually get into the content. This happened last time as well. Yeah. No, this happened last time as well. In fact, I didn't have a whole lot of moderators on with me that time, so I had to be clearing them out myself. So we appreciate you moderators for doing your good work in the chat. Listen, and this is such a great lesson for those who want to do, especially vertical live on Instagram, and well, not so much Instagram, but definitely on YouTube. You want to make sure that you are that you have some moderators in there, because folks will come and try to disrupt your chat. Yeah, Computer Pal says I usually try to ignore them. Hey, some of the comments are hilarious, but I think the thing to do, moderators, is instead of deleting the messages, ban them from the chat so that they can't come back and do any. They have to actually come back with another account. So there we go. All right. There's a quote of the day. You guys are doing some serious work. Appreciate you. There is a quote of the day that we just recently put out. There's two things I want to share, but there's a quote of the day that we just recently put out. It's yesterday's quote, I think it was. We cannot solve problems with the same thinking that we employed to find them in the first place. And one of the things I was saying in that video is that there is a mindset that you have to go into that allows you to find a problem. And then there's a mindset that you go into that allows you to seek solutions. They are different types, different kinds of mindsets, different modes of the mind. When you're in analytical mode, when you're in Q&A mode, when you're in kick the tires mode, it is a different mode than creator mode. It's a different mode than when you're making something. And so I shared in that video, this is one of the reasons why my wife, what's going on, Monty Weaver? My wife actually does the proofreading for my scripts and for my social posts for whatever I'm doing on social media. She proofreads them, proofreads my if I have to submit a paper, published in different magazines, stuff like that. When I have to submit those things, I try to have her look it over. If not her, then at least my virtual assistant. But I try to have some other pair of eyes to look over that thing, because when I'm in creator mode, I don't know, it just kind of blends together. I'm reading this thing and it makes sense, and I just kind of gloss over or put the word in that's supposed to be there that's not there. And it takes somebody else actually looking at it for me to recognize that this actually needs some editing. That this actually is not relaying the message that I hope it to relay. And so that's still part of that whole concept of making sure when you're in the mode of creating, Yes, indeed. I see we got the chat cleaned up. When you're in the, oh, look at that. Look at the lake over there. Come on, come on. That's gold. That's gorgeous. But when you're in the mode of creating, you are all not in the mode of analyzing. When you're in the mode of creating, you're not in the mode of critique and feedback and pressure testing. When you're in the mode of creating and making, you're all right. Okay. I'm not sure what happened. It looks like it paused. We lost connection for a second there. I'm not sure why though, because I've done this walk multiple times and never lost the internet. Hey, it's mobile data, right? I'm at the mercy of what we can get. Anyway, hopefully, Ananea says it's clear, so I'm going based off what Ananea says. 6 of you guys are still with us on the live. I want to thank you for hanging out. Ananea also says, I've done that too, right from creative space, and when I look back at it, I have to edit. And that happens, Ananea, because when you go back to look at it, you're no longer in that creative mode. You're now in the tweaking mode. You're now in the analytical mode. And one of the things that we talked about in that day, for that quote, we cannot solve problems deployed to find them. When you're in analytical mode, you're not in innovative mode. When you're in analytical mode, you're not in creator mode. When you're in analytical mode, you're actually not in a mode where you can actually take something, tweak it, and take it to the next level. And what you have done, what you did there, is you actually took you were able to shift your mind from one mode to the other. And so that was the first quote. That's a quote that we did yesterday in our produced one. So if you haven't checked that one out, I definitely would love for you to check that one out. I also give a huge shout out to my guy, Don Daniel from the Pill Method. He does this thing where he asks this question to spark curiosity. He says, have you ever? Have you ever questions are questions that allow people to self-identify. And when they self-identify, they're gonna tell you that, yes, this is me. Or, no, that's not me. Or, never thought of it that way. But now that I've thought about it, I cannot unhear it. And I'm curious. And let me tell you, for the creator, for the business owner, for the service provider, curiosity is gold. Curiosity is where you want your people, even for your people who have already been long supporters, even for your people who are bought in and they have that whole know, like, and trust factor with you. You want to ensure that they are curious. Wonder what Kirk's gonna put out today. I wonder what is he gonna be talking about? I don't know if I want to miss this, because even though I don't necessarily need what is described on the title or the thumbnail, I just know that I generally get value from this content, from this person, from this creator, and from this business, from this brand, from this entrepreneur. And so because I'm so used to getting value from them, I'm curious as to what you're gonna do next. Even at my church, we have a speaker, a pastor, senior pastor, who does primarily most of the preaching. And some of the people will share with me, like, man, I'm not gonna lie, when I first started watching you guys, I was just curious as to if he was gonna be able to keep this level of preaching up. I was curious as to what he was gonna say next. I was curious when I saw the text that he was gonna preach from. I was curious whether or not, which direction he was gonna take with it. Curiosity is gold. And we wanna instill curiosity with our audiences. We want to instill curiosity with those that we come in contact with. Listen, even as a director in the C-suite, even as a manager, mid-level, even as a CEO or CIO, whatever you might find, wherever you might find yourself in leadership, you still want to instill curiosity in the teams that you lead, in the activity that you are having them do. I remember once my boss, we were talking about a project. We had actually lined a lot of things up. We had done a good amount of work, prep work, laying the groundwork for this particular project to launch and launch well. I remember us sitting in his office one day and him just thinking out loud. He was just like, I don't want to negate the work that you all have done. I don't want to negate our plans thus far, but I'm just looking at it and I'm wondering, are we aiming too small? I'm wondering, should we go after a bigger funder for this project so that we can actually go with all brand new equipment instead of these donated pieces of equipment, which are great, but I'm just wondering, are we aiming too small? That conversation instilled in me some curiosity. Because in my mind, I'm like, oh my word, what if we are aiming too small? What if we aren't pushing to the next level? What if we are settling? And so one of the things that I do at the beginning of the day, talking about not employing the same thinking that you used to come up with the problems in the first place, talking about recognizing that there are areas of curiosity, levels of curiosity that you can only get to when you really go down the rabbit hole. I like to give myself time at the beginning of the day to dream. Okay, I have my day planned out. I have the things that I want to accomplish today. But is there any area, I wonder if there's any area that I'm not aiming high enough. I wonder if there's any area that I'm not pushing myself. I wonder if there's any area that I'm just phoning it in. I'm just doing the default. I'm doing what I'm comfortable with. I wonder if there's any area that I could actually require more from myself. I wonder if there's any area that I'm not optimizing. I wonder if there's any area that I've left it to chance. I've not been strategic. I wonder if there's any area that I'm not dreaming. So you know what your day looks like today. What if you could dream a little bit more? What if today could be a dream type day? What would that day look like? I want to leave that one with you. If all of the things that you have planned for today blew your mind, what would that day look like? If all the things that you had planned for today exceeded your wildest expectations, what would that space look like? And have you ever gone through the process of thinking through what that day looks like, what that time looks like, what that experience looks like, and actually systematically and methodically stepping through what would it take to actually create that kind of day? Yesterday we talked about, during the coaching corner, one of the final things I shared with you is that comfortability is where greatness goes to die. Comfort zone, the space of comfort is where greatness goes to die. So what are you, how have you allowed yourself to get comfortable? Hmm? How have you allowed yourself to get comfortable? How have you allowed yourself space to just coast? You see, because they're not different. We can use the tactic of curiosity when it comes to our content, when it comes to our target audience, when it comes to our value proposition, as we help people who come across our content to self-identify. But for ourselves, we can also use, we can also, Lost in Translation podcast is back. He was here yesterday. We can also use the concept of curiosity to help ourselves get to the next level, to help ourselves get out of a space of comfort and move into a place of the unknown, right? Passing our known limits and recognizing that there is more that we can do. There's more that we can do. And so my challenge yesterday, I said, I said to the folks that are watching yesterday, I said, for some of you guys, the best thing that could have happened is that StreamYard raised their prices. Because StreamYard raising their prices forced you out of your comfort zone to now start looking at other platforms. To be clear, you should have been looking at them all along. StreamYard said to me very early on, I had a brand deal with them. I was creating content on their channel. I was doing some tutorials. I was actually part of their program of producers. Listen, it was a very lucrative scenario for me. And they said, hey, listen, Kirk, we want you to be exclusive with us. Just tell us what it's going to cost. I was like, what does exclusivity look like to you? And they said, no, we just want you to just work with us. We don't want you to talk about any other brands. We don't want you to talk about any other streaming platforms on your channel. We just want you to talk about StreamYard. And I said to them, absolutely not. The moment I do that, I cease to be relevant to the audience I'm growing on my channel. The moment I do that, I cease to have impact and effect because I'm not actually looking at the other platforms with that analytical eye and saying, here's something that StreamYard should employ. Once I said that to them, they, not immediately, but gradually just pulled everything back. And I found myself without a brand deal, found myself on the outside looking in, I didn't even, listen, wasn't even getting the beta test anymore. But the joke is, people still came to my content because they knew I was unbiased. People still came to my content because they knew I was unbiased. And here's the big, real clincher. I ended up stumbling onto a platform called Ecamm Live, which is the program I use for most of them. I'm not using it today, but it's the program I use for most of my streaming, all of my content creation, long before StreamYard had really created a suite of creator tools that were more than just live streaming. I was using Ecamm to create my StreamYard videos. And it's that healthy dose of curiosity. It's that there's something in the back of your mind is like, I wonder what this does. Do you know, even when I'm doing training as a leader, when I'm doing training for media professionals, I guess aspiring media professionals who want to work with me at the church or want to work with me in the media ministry that I'm at, when I do training, one of the indicators for me to know, okay, this person is going to go the distance. This person is actually going to be a strong media professional. You know, one of the indicators I use is their level of curiosity. When I train someone, I say, okay, you do it like this, like this, like this, like this. And they're like, okay, like this, like this, like this, like this. And I say, yes. And if that's all they do, and they repeat what I showed them, but they never click anywhere else, they never ask the question, so what happens if you do it this way? They don't come back the next day and say, hey, I was trying this, and I saw that this, if you could almost do it this way, I wonder, is this right? Those people that come back displaying that they've been a little curious. They've been poking around under the hood. Those are the people I know are going to be successful. And I look at them, I'm like, you got it. You could also do it like this, like this. Oh, how come you didn't show me that yesterday? I was like, I wasn't sure if you even wanted to know. The instructor will only show the person who is interested. If you don't have a healthy dose of curiosity, you're never going to actually be able to fully leverage what it is that you're doing, fully leverage the equipment that you have. Curiosity is the benchmark for whether a person is going to just surface level do something, or if they're going to get to a place. Because here's the joke. The stuff that I was curious about, the stuff that I was learning as I was poking around in these platforms, like I did a live stream with StreamYard once, and the founders, Dan and Gage, came in the chat on my live stream and asked, is this StreamYard? And I said, yes. And they were like, we created StreamYard and we have never seen it being used in this way. The stuff that I was learning, I didn't have a need for it at the time. But I was just showing people, hey, did you know you could do this with StreamYard? Did you know you could do this with StreamYard? Did you know you could do this with a platform? Did you know you could do this in leadership? Did you know you could do this with content creation? Did you know you could do this? Because I started showing those things, business opportunities, clients started to appear because they recognize this guy has solutions to problems that I have and he doesn't even know it. And this is what I want to say to you guys this morning. I see you out there, Neil. I see you out there, Lost in Translation Podcast. I see you doing your good work. And I'm telling you, you have earned your money today because the riffraff have just been knocking on the door all morning. But the thing I want to leave you guys with is, it's not just for self-identification. It's not just for establishing yourself as an expert with content. It's not just for those things. Curiosity is a benchmark for you to know whether or not this is something I'm really interested in. I every time I get a chance to coach somebody for, content creation, I want a podcast, I want to do all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, so tell me what you've been doing. What platforms have you been watching? Help me to understand that you have a requisite amount of curiosity built in that will enable you to be successful in this new space you want to get into. People will never tell you that they just want the vanity metrics. They just want the lights, the likes, I should say, and the views, because that's not a good thing to say. But they will tell you that that's what they want by their level of curiosity. Oh, you know what? I really just want to focus. Can I just come over to your studio and record it there? Because, no, you're not interested. You're actually not even curious. This is not a success. This is going to be a one-time venture, and then you'll never touch it again. I want you to use your curiosity as a benchmark for whether or not you are really interested in something. So my question to you, like real talk, I don't care what it is you're doing today. You could be helping your son or daughter tie their shoes. Ask yourself, am I curious? You were taking your kids to school today. Ask yourself, am I curious? And what will that curiosity look like? If I was curious about what my son does on a day-to-day basis, what does that conversation in the car as I'm getting ready to take him to school look like? Is it me just rushing? Is it me turning on my news? Is it me drinking my coffee and just being quiet because I'm frustrated about whatever that took place before we got in the car? If I'm curious, however, I'm going to have some conversations. So what did you do yesterday? There's a website I found that actually had questions for parents to ask their kids at the end of the day when they picked them up from school. And that website, the questions that they had on that website were so ridiculously phenomenal because they're hacks. They're mental and psychological hacks that you're getting your kid into a mode of being able to talk to you But here's the clincher. I would never have gone to find that website if I wasn't curious about how to connect with my child on a deeper level. Are you curious in your romantic relationships, in your finances? Are you curious about how can I do this better? How can I save more money? How can I make more money? My wife listens to a podcast. It's called How I Built This. And every single person on there, I am telling you without reservation, every last one of them were curious. They were curious. Well, I was doing something like this. Oh my gosh, the required ingredient in every one of those stories on that podcast is that the person was curious. And this is how I know my wife will be successful. We're gonna be ridiculously rich because she is curious too. Are you curious? Huh? In your diet, are you curious? What if I eat this? What if I don't eat that? What if I go for a walk? Huh? What if I live stream while I'm walking? What if I stack my interests? Are you curious? Are you curious? What if I take this client? What if I stop taking this client? Are you curious? What if I cut out this kind of work? Are you curious? Are you curious? Gimbal kind of got out of whack here. Are you curious? That's my question for you today. In every aspect of your life and everything that you endeavor to do, I want you to ask yourself the question, am I curious? Yo, I was driving in a car with a good friend of mine, and it was a car that I had rented previously. And I was like, man, this is a great car because, it has this and this and this and this. And he was like, man, I've had this car for almost 2 years and I didn't know it had those features. And I said to him, you didn't know it had those features because you're not curious. You're just doing the default. And your lack of curiosity will cause you to have, let me say it right. Your lack of curiosity will cause you to have access to things that you will never use because you don't even know that they exist. You don't even know they exist. You didn't even know it was a function and a feature of the thing that you're paying for. Your lack of curiosity will keep you at a level that will, that will be comfortable. And your comfort level is a death sentence for your greatness. Are you curious? Are you curious? Are you curious? David Sound says, I'm curious, what gimbal are you using? Are you curious? I'm using the DJI Osmo SE. Are you curious? Are you curious about who you can be? About the lives you can touch? About the content you can create? About the value you can provide? Are you curious about whether or not your lived experiences could be the cheat code, could be the ultimate hack for somebody who's just a few steps behind you on the journey, struggles with the same things you do? Are you curious? That's it. That's all I wanted to share with you today. I'm going to try and see if I can read through some of these comments because there's a lot of them. Let's see here. Got a lot of, had to delete some. Welcome back from the cruise. Dr. Otang says, good way to burn some calories from the ship. Yes. Oh, he says trip, but yes, that is absolutely correct. Yo, Russ is here today. Absolutely average. Russ is his actual name is Russ. And Russ, you see how that works now? I've actually remembered your name. Morning, Kirk and chat. Good morning to you as well. Thank you for being with us today. Lost in Translation podcast says, I saw the hot light on. Saw the hot light on. Hey, Kirk, blessings and peace. Long time. Winton Wilmot, man. Yeah, it's been a little minute. Thank you so much for coming through and hanging out with us today. Hope that something we said in today's morning motivation gets you across the line.
Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Yourself.
Good. Same to you. All right. Russ, I see you in the chat, says, I always said that humans strive to find comfort. If it's cold, we put on more clothes. If it's hot, we'll wear less. If we're hungry, we eat. If we're thirsty, we drink. Tired, we sleep, etc. Oh gosh, Russ, you're knocking down the door right now, sir. You're knocking down the door. And so my only question as you pose those statements is why? I wonder why that happens. You know why I'm asking the why? It's because I'm curious. And the reason why you're sharing it is because you're curious. Absolutely amazing. Okay, let's see what we got here. Lost in Translation says, Kirk, that was brilliant. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you, man. Hey, Lost in Translation podcast. I don't know if you don't mind, we'd love to know what your actual name is so that we can call you by your real name like we do with Russ and Florence and several others who are in the chat who also have channel names. But if you don't mind, hey, listen, it's totally up to you. We'll just call you LIT Podcast. That's okay too. The teacher will appear when the student is ready. Words to live by. Words to live by. The instructor will only be able to show the person who is interested. This has been my lived experience. This has been my lived experience. For every aspect and area of my life where I was looking to innovate, especially when I was trying to train somebody else, you know. I have a intern at the media ministry where I work, and she is ridiculously curious. Oh, I love it. And do you know what happens when her curiosity and my curiosity meets up? We both benefit because I'm able to teach her at a level that I can never teach anybody else. People say that good teaching is on the part of the teacher. Sam, it's good teaching is on the part of the student. What's going on?
It's been years.
How are you?
You all are back. Welcome back.
Yes, indeed. It's good to see you.
Back.
Thank you. You know, there's nothing like going for a walk in the morning and somebody's like, hey, it's good to see you. That is absolutely awesome. This is another reason why I love live. David Hunt says, good morning, Doc. I hear you. I'm editing that video right now. Come on and be curious. Come on and be curious. Let me see what we got here. Witty Music says, glad I found this. Hard work with God's help is the foundation for change. Ooh, Witty Music. Oh my gosh, you came out the gate with fire today. I hope that you're going to subscribe. I hope you're going to stay around. Hope that you keep on checking us out. So good to have you. So good to have you. David Hunt says, hey, Neil Fairmont. Hey, Neil. Neil is part of I believe the CCTV crew for ECAM, for the ECAM fam. I'm excited to have you in the chat today. I hope you're still here. I'm just trying to catch up on some comments. Great word, Witty Music says. Lost in Translation says, that's how I ended up over here. I'm curious about whiteboard animation. Check back with me in 2025. I feel it. Let's see here. All right. Looks like I lost it. Oh boy. Let's see here. All right. Can you still hear me? Okay. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. My camera has stopped, but I wonder, can you still hear me? Yes, we can hear you, but we can't see you. Huh. 26 of y'all on the live. There we go. Okay. All right. I don't know what happened there. We'll still. And then it says, we're still curious even when we can't see with our human eyes. Okay. Lost in Translation says, we are probably looking at your rear camera. Now, it got stuck. My wife called, and it just got stuck. I'm just assuming that they're probably leaving for the day. I'm still out here walking. So, let me... let's do it like this. Doing a video call within the video call. Hey guys. Hey, I'm still walking. So I'll catch you guys later, okay? Love you too. Have a good day. See you later, buddy. All right, babe. Where's mommy? Later, babe. All right. Bye. All right. Family's off. Family's off. All right. Y'all, this is the master creator of working on live stream. Coach Kirk. Florence, we missed you. We missed you. Okay, let me see if I can catch up back up on my comments. Yes, we can hear you. Just lost video. We hear you, Kirk. I need to go, guys. Have a wonderful day. And you curious lot. Come on, Russ. You have a wonderful day as well. Thank you so much. On the next podcast says, salute to the God in the squad. I love it. Love it. We can still hear you. Neil says, Neil, thank you so much for coming through. Neil says, yes, I'm still here. Kirk, I have grown so much since I changed my channel name. I need a name that accurately describes what I wanted to do. Love it. Got it. Woo. And then Kirk is a celebrity. The student must have an open mind. It's so true. Jared is your real name. Hey, Jared. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to work on getting that right. You might have to tell me that name another time or two before I get that fully correct. But I want to say thanks for sharing it with us. That's how we become community for sure. Mark Woolard is here. I'm wondering, in what ways was Jesus curious? Ooh. Woo! Mark, that's a loaded question. I don't know if I have enough. I was curious if you'd remember. Russ says I was curious. But Mark, that's a loaded question. Let me go back to the bottom. Jared, I'm gonna just keep on calling you Jared, Lost in Translation Podcast. I gotta remember that name. Mark, that is a very loaded question. One that I don't normally take time to unpack, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I think there's just so many examples. There's so many examples of his curiosity all throughout what we find in the Gospels. Yeah, that's a serious question. Equip Institute says as well. So many examples in terms of what we find in the Gospels. Yeah, I'm trying to adjust my gimbal a little bit here. There we go. Okay. There we go. So many examples in terms of what we find in the gospel. I think of the scenarios. You know how I identify that somebody is curious is by the questions they ask. And if you really are familiar with the word, you will recognize that the types of questions Jesus asked were altogether different than the stuff that everybody else was saying. It was the kinds of conclusions he got to was completely different. Let me say it this way. Because I don't want to be prescriptive. I want you to go through and kind of interrogate the word for yourself so that you can kind of come up with your own conclusion. But this is what I like to say to people. The type of content that I watch, the type of content that I follow, the type of content I try to put out is content that is speaking about topics that we all know, but it is shared from a perspective that we never considered before. So even morning motivation and the quotes that I use, these are not quotes that you can't find on your own. But I'm always looking at the quote and trying to pull from it something that a surface reader will never come away with. Something that somebody who is not curious, oh gosh, like your curiosity, ah, you don't need to tell somebody whether you're curious or not. You just ask the question. Your actions will confirm or deny your level of curiosity. David Hunt just put it in the chat. He said, answer a question consistently. Be vulnerable, meaning share from your lived experiences. And here's the truth. You can't share from lived experiences that you don't have. You can't share from lived experiences that you have not cultivated. One of the number one pieces of advice I give to young people, to aspiring professionals, to recent grads and college age adults, young adults. One of the number one pieces of advice I give them is to collect experiences. Collect them like a North Carolina Tar Heels Michael Jordan rookie card, right? Collect experiences because they are just that valuable. Your experiences will inform how you can help, who you can help, what you can do, what you're qualified for. And experiences, someone who collects experiences, someone who says, hey, I've not done that before. And I'm not talking about from a self-deprecating standpoint. I'm not talking about, oh, I've never tried, fentanyl before, so let me just try that. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying experiences. You get opportunities come all the time. So here's one. I had a young guy I was working with. He had the opportunity to go and do a year in Argentina, and it would throw off some of his stuff. It would throw him off by about a year. And I just said to him, what do you gain? Or what are you losing? And he's like, I can't explain it, but I just feel like this is one of those opportunities I can't pass. That told me that this guy was curious. And I know we've strayed far from the original question of, how was Jesus exemplifying curiosity? I want you to interrogate that on your own. It's the questions that he asked. It's the conversations he had. It's the conclusions he came to. And I want you to be able to see that in your own life as well. I want you to be able to see that in your own life as well. What are the experiences that you shied away from? And maybe some of them you should. I'm not saying every experience you need to, expose yourself to. But I can tell you right now, my family and I were given the opportunity to be missionaries in South Africa for 5 years. I did not want to go. But I can tell you on this side of life, on this side of having gone through that experience, it was transformative. And had I not gone, there's a whole host, a whole ton of lived experiences I would not be able to pull from, because I have a perspective on life and a worldview that is very rare, because I have lived outside of these United States for a long time, traveled extensively. This last trip to Rome and Greece, Turkey, Italy. Well, Rome isn't in Italy, but we went to Naples and Pompeii. But this last trip to Europe, essentially, kind of, completed a loop for me. There's a lot of places that I have already been, and this was kind of one of those that kind of helped me check off that box. I've pretty much been to every continent. I haven't been to Antarctica. I haven't been to Australia, but pretty much I've been to every major continent in the world now. That's something pretty awesome. That is something that when I talk to coaching clients about what are some of the things that you can bring to your content that others in your space cannot bring, these are the kinds of things that we're talking about. These are the lived experiences. You got to be curious, get this, even in interrogating your own story. Because if you're just looking at your story to share with people the highlights, the stuff that you always share, you never get to root cause analysis. You never mine the gold in the story. You never understand the value in the story that you can bring to bear for everything that you're doing. And I want to be clear, your job knows you have a story. Your employer knows you bring something to the table that is different and unique and special to what everybody else brings. And you want to make sure that you are the purveyor of this. You are the most intimately aware and familiar with it more than anyone else. Okay, let's go back. Good morning, outdoors in Maryland. Florence says, exactly, questions grow us. Okay, Jared or Gerard? Talk to me, man. How do we say that? Jared or Gerard? So he says, Kirk, this is exactly what I do when I'm on other people's podcasts. It opens their ability to explore their own questions they didn't know they had. I'm gonna be honest with you. One of the recurring messages, feedback points that I would get from people when they were a guest on the How It All Works show when it was rolling back in the day. We're considering bringing it back, y'all. I'm just gonna let y'all know that from now. It's an interview-based show. Yeah. But one of the number one questions I got from people, not questions, feedback items I got from people was, man, the questions you asked actually caused me to share in a way that I had never thought of my own stuff before. The way you shepherded, the way you, led the conversation with the questions allowed me to really think through from a perspective I had not previously done before. And it is definitely a skill set. In fact, I had a guy say to me, listen, I'm getting ready to write a book. Oh, you gotta be careful. People are walking, people are driving around here. But I had a guy, he said, hey, I'm getting ready to write a book and I'm going to do the book from a video transcript. Essentially, I'm gonna talk the book and I'm going to take the transcript and make that into the book. I was like, this is ingenious. I said, what do you need me for? He's like, I want you to interview me. I'm going to give you the questions. Every question is a chapter of my book. And I want you to interview me, but I want you to be free with the questions. I said, well, help me understand. Why do you want me to do it? He's like, because every time you interview me, I share more than I had intended. I share my story in a way that's probably better. And I want that experience to be in the book. Dude paid me for this, y'all. Paid me. We sat down and recorded for 3 hours. He paid me for my time handsomely. We sat down and recorded for 3 hours. He had about 17 questions. We got to about maybe 10 of them. Okay? That's how, because I reworked the questions in my own way. And that transcript became the base for his book. And here's the real clincher. This is just a content thing now. Your boy recorded the video of me and him interviewing. So he always has video content for every aspect of his book. Now, yes, it was edited, it was proofread, it was tweaked to make sure that, from a reading perspective, it went well. He will always have that original 3-hour recording that is his book. Like, I've been live for 55 minutes right now. There's nobody else on here talking with me, except for what I'm reading in the comments. This audio could easily be a book. And I'm telling you, questions, the right questions, asking questions the right way is the ultimate cheat code. And so I couldn't agree with you more. Jared. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Jared, thank you so much. All right, let me see here. On your next podcast, Mark Willard says, good questions are the fuel of a good small group facilitator. Love it. Curiosity, made me leave my comfort zone in Trinidad to study in the U.S. Come on, David Hunt. And you need to play that up. You need to share that more in your content. You need to tell people, this is who I am. This is where I come from. Listen, I'm not, I'm not like y'all. Okay? Gone are the days where we want to fit in, get into fit in. This is not peer pressure. This is not high school. You want to know what makes you unique, and understanding things like what you just said there, David. That's gold. Art Goes Show says, Mark Willard, then you must be a good facilitator. I loved your Jesus question of wisdom and curiosity. Come on, Art Goes Show. I love it. My life would be totally different had I not gotten out of my comfort zone to come to the U.S. I hear you, David. Ooh, Jared says shepherd is a great way to put it. Listen, it's word choices. There's so many things you can relay with your choice of words. It's word choices, y'all. Word choices, shepherd, come on. And then you have been rocking with me for the full 57 minutes. I'm going to release you here just another few minutes. I'm going to end the stream. I'm at 2.5 miles. Let me see if I can show that to you. Nope, not working. But I'm at 2.5 miles already. And that's pretty dope. I walked a little slower than I normally walk when I'm doing my morning walk. But I did want to go live today. I normally go live on Thursdays, but I'm still fighting through this jet lag. Just got back from Italy late Monday night. I think we got back home around 2 a.m. So just kind of fighting through that jet lag. But I wanted to come on today and kind of bookend what was shared yesterday during the coaching corner, because I recognized that as I said it, there's a lot of people that resonated. You know what I'm saying? That comfort and comfortability is where greatness goes to die. So I wanted to kind of share with you why I was in that headspace from yesterday's quote, from yesterday's produced morning motivation video, where we talked about you cannot solve problems with the kind of thinking you employed. Employed. That's such a great word. The kind of thinking you employed. I hope you go back and watch that. Yesterday's morning motivation. Go and watch it. Go to howitallworks.com. Scroll down to the creator motivation section. Watch that video. Howitallworks.com. Works is spelled with an E. WERKS. HOWITALLWERKS.com. Go to there and watch. If you haven't watched it, even if you did watch it, go and watch that, because that video is what it put me in this space, so that when we were landing yesterday, when I was talking about, being on the ship and having this cup and having access to more than I knew I had access to because I wasn't curious. Having access to more than I knew I had access to because I just did the default. I never pushed, I never asked, I never clarified. And that caused me to walk around the ship for a good 2-3 days, living under the level that I was intended to live at. Oh gosh. Having status and access to more, but living under. And I'm saying to those who are listening, and maybe you're coming in late, and I encourage you to go back and catch the rest, but I'm saying to those who are listening, that is not a space that you want to exist in. That is not a space you want to, that is not a space you don't want to live there. You don't want to be known for just doing the bare minimum. Never being curious, never wondering what could be, never pushing for greater. In every area of your life, ask yourself, are you curious? Are you curious? I see you guys are coming up. When you did this live walk 2 weeks ago, it inspired me to jump my live bike rides and gym sessions off. Definitely attracted a new audience. So salute to you, sir. Come on. My man was curious. He was like, I wonder if I do something slightly different. Ah, good Lord, I love this. Gerard, and then it's just telling Jared, I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited that you're here. I see Florence has put the link in the chat, howitallworks.com/watch. Definitely want to make sure you get on that page. And then I was more surprised to see you here. Now watch us grow. Now you can really appreciate the growth. Come on, Jared. Oh, I just love the community involvement and engagement. It is the primary reason why I do live. I don't know what's going on with my eyes today, but it's the primary reason why I do live. Primary reason is because there's such rich engagement. And I will say this. I mean, you can see I got no notes. I've got nothing. I don't know what it is. When I am live, things click in a way that they don't click when I'm not live. So it's the ultimate cheat code for me. That's the ultimate cheat code for me, is to put my notes down on a page and go live and see what happens. Or in this instance, have a kernel of an idea and flesh it out with you guys while we're live. And it's all of the things that you're sharing that helps me to really put it all together. And I cannot thank you enough for that. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. We're over the time now, 62 minutes and 30 seconds. I just cannot thank you guys enough for hanging out with me today. The gimbal is definitely better than trying to handhold the phone and walk at the same time. And I'm definitely excited that the audio has been really good. iPhone has done their thing. They've really made it work. But I want to say, man, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for hanging out with me this morning. Thank you for keeping me accountable and going on this walk with me. Thank you for being curious and saying, hey, I know what Kirk's going to say today. And I am encouraging you to take that curiosity into every aspect of your life, every area of your life. It's your boy, Kirk Nugent, the Geek Speaker Preacher. Thankful for your time and attention today. We will see you around these internet streets or in the next video. Grace and peace, fam.